Kyodo News English World。
はい、皆さんこんにちは。こちらは共同通信海外部のポッドキャストです。海外部では国内外で起きている出来事について取材してオリジナルの英文記事を発信したり、日本語のニュースを英語に翻訳したりしています。海外部の英語の記事をテーマにいろんな国から集まる仲間たちと英語と日本語を交えて楽しくおしゃべりしていけたらと思っています。今日は海外部の記者3人でお届けします。私は山口と申します。昨年まで日本語の記者をしていて海外部に移動してきました。よろしくお願いいたします。
Hi there, everybody. My name is Eduardo Martinez, and I've been here at Kyodo News for a couple of years now. I enjoy watching films in my spare time. The most recent one I saw was one called Farha on Netflix. I would recommend you watch it. It's a very interesting historical film.
Hello, everyone. My name is Toma. I've been at Kyodo News for 4 to 5 years now. At the office, I am known as a major bookworm.And the best book I've read this year, or one of the best books I've read this year, is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. よろしくお願いします。
Interesting title.
はい、ありがとうございます。今日のトピックに移りたいと思います。今日のトピックトマさんが選んでいただいたんですけれども、どういうタイトルの記事でしょうか。
Ex-lawmaker secretary becomes Japan's youngest female mayor at 33.
元参議院議員秘書の女性が33歳の女性ですね。京都府八幡市の市長に当選したという記事ですね。それでは朗読よろしくお願いします。
A 33-year-old former secretary of a ruling party lawmaker has become Japan's youngest ever female mayor after winning election in Yawata, Kyoto Prefecture, according to the Japanese City Mayors Association. Shoko Kawata,An independent backed by the ruling Liberal Democratic Party and its coalition partner, Komeito, as well as the main opposition Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, beat 2 other newcomers in the mayoral election held following the resignation of the former mayor.
はい、ありがとうございます。八幡市のその市長に当選された正子川田さんなんですけれども、33歳で女性市長として史上最年少ということで、すごくおめでたいニュースなのではないかなと思いました。トマさん、このニュースご覧になられていかがでしたでしょうか。
Well, I think it's admirable. And I think it's also a lot of responsibility to become mayor at 33 years old.Yeah, and in Japan, where there aren't very many female politicians, I think that it was very, like I said, admirable of her to be able to take this helm.
そうですよね。もともと女性の政治家が少ない日本の中でこういった形で最年少で市長として当選されたということで、まさにいろんな壁を突き破ってこういった結果を出されたのだと思いますけれども、エドさんいかがでしょうか。女性の政治家の方っていうのはオーストラリアだと結構多いんですかね。
I think in relative terms compared to Japan, I think that there are more women slightly more women in positions of in higher political positions. We've only had one female prime minister to date, but I guess that sets a precedent because Japan hasn't had a single female prime minister yet. But when it comes to premiers, who are kind of like the equivalent of governors of the states of Australia,we have had several women. I know that the current premiers of the states of Queensland and Victoria are currently women, and I guess that's become relatively normalized. No one really, it's not, the fact that they are women is not necessarily questioned. And I did have to do some research, but I found out that Australia in 2019 elected a 22-year-old to be the youngest female mayor in the country. Her name was Emilia Lisa Steryova. I'm not sure if I can pronounce that correctly. But yes, she became the mayor of the city of Whittlesea.
Imagine taking becoming a mayor right after university.
Yeah, just like a
you
whole...
finish your studies and it's like the first thing you do.
そうですよね。
She's like
Wow.
10 years younger than me. Like, she's running a town, a city.
僕は22歳の時とかなんか働きたくなかったですもんね。
Yeah.
就活とかもやりたくなかったです。
No. So in that sense, I think I'm going to probably keep using the word admirable in this episode, but it is admirable because I imagine that she probably really wanted to change.
Enormous responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. It's-
トマさんなんで日本だとこんなに女性の若者でその政治家になりたいっていう人も少ないですし、あとその女性でその政治家になりたいという人も少ないですけれども、なんでなんだと思いますか？
I think it's been so like male saturated that it feels unwelcome. I guess for lack of better terms. So even if people may be interested, I think it's difficult to make that first step into that world. Yeah.
確かにそうですよね。なんかあんまりウェルカムな感じが感じられないっていうのもねあるんでしょうね。
Yeah.
私も政治だけじゃないですけど、経済の取材とかでも結構いろんな式典とかその会見とか行ってやっぱり出てくる責任者の方っていうのはやっぱり女性よりもやっぱり男性、高齢のその男性の方が圧倒的に多いので、
Yeah.
そういう意味ではなかなかあれですよね。そのロールモデルとなる人っていうのも少ないですし、難しいところがありますよね。
Yeah. When there aren't very many people in positions of power that look like you, it is difficult to kind of aspire to that
It's
position.
a bit discouraging,
Yeah.
right? Too. Yeah.
そうですよね。自分と似たような形の方ね、属性であったりその容姿の人がロールモデルでいないとなかなかちょっとそこを目指そうという形にはならないかもしれないですね。
Yeah. I definitely agree because I know someone that I knew from high school in Australia who she currently works for I think as an aide for one of the two major political parties in Australia now, and she's always been very outspoken and very interested in politics, and I think that maybe the ultimate goal of hers is to actually pursue becoming Prime Minister of Australia as a big dream of hers. And I know that she has looked up to Julia Gillard, like our former female Prime Minister. So I mean, like you said, it's for when you see people like that in positions of power, it helps you kind of like build that confidence that hey, I can do that too. I can be that as well if I want to be. Yeah.
ちなみにトマさんなんか日本で普通に生活しててなんかここはなんかちょっとなんか女性入りにくいみたいなところってあったりしますか？
Heavy question.
So that is a heavy question. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I do remember when I was
なんか自分の中で思うのは牛丼屋さんとか女性入りにくいかなって思って、でそれでなんかで僕は結構利用するんでいるんですけど、やっぱりなんか女性のお客さんもなんか少ない、圧倒的になんか男性のお客さんの方が多いので、女性だと入りにくいだろうなと自分の中では多分感じますね。
Yeah, no, so I'm currently working on this one article, and what I heard was that there's things called snacks in Japan, which is they're kind of like bars. And what I heard from one of my interviews was that women are often, they don't go to them. They feel a bit unwelcome. And most of the clientele are men. It's like 90% men, essentially. And the reasoning behind that is it's often thought of as a place where the men go to socialize after work, like kind of get drinks, and also a lot of the people who run these snacks are women. So the men also want to, a lot of the time, impress the woman who's running the snack. And so it becomes a bit difficult for women to kind of break into that, is what I heard.
でも確かになんか独特のカルチャーはあると思いますね。私もなんかスナックそんなに行った経験はないんですけども、やっぱりねママがいて、なんか常連のお客さんがいて、すごくそこでなんかね親しい関係があって、ママに愚痴を聞いてもらうために通ったりとかってね、いう人も結構いたりする。
They form a relationship with them,
と思うので、 確かに女性でスナック行きにくいでしょうね、なんとなく。
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
エロさんなんかそういうなんか同じようなそのシチュエーションみたいなのってなんか見つけたりすることありますか？
I guess like you mentioned with the gyudon places before, I've noticed like in ramen shops especially, like I feel like ramen is seen like as a very like it's perceived as a very manly, tough food that you don't really see that many women. I mean, definitely when you go there, you see like the proportion of women to men is really obvious, the difference. But yeah, I guess being a man myself here, I haven't experienced that before, and maybe there are places that I've just gotten access to without even thinking about it that might make like some of my female peers feel more self-conscious about.
そうですね。やっぱりラーメンとかもそうかもしれないですね。なんかそれで例えばそのラーメン屋さんの一蘭とかはなんか個別のブースみたいな形にしてそういう人の目が気になる人でもなんか食べやすくしたりっていうのがあったりするみたいですけども、なかなかねやっぱりそのなんか男性だと気づかないなんか女性がアンウェルカムだと感じちゃうような部分っていうのは多分世の中に多分すごいいっぱいあるんだろうなというふうに思いました。はい、ありがとうございます。そろそろ時間が来てしまったんですけれども、海外部では、共同ニュースプラスというサイトで、日本や世界で起きた出来事について英語のニュースを発信しています。今日ご紹介した記事も掲載されていると思いますのでぜひチェックしてみてください。それでは皆さん
See you next time.